Hey, this is Matt once again with about 10 videos of the paid requests. This time for Lucas. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, which of course is the second of the Jurassic World trilogy, which I'm not really a fan of that trilogy. Listen, I like the first Jurassic Park. Second film, that was very disappointing. Even when I first saw it, I was like, there's something missing here. But I do like the T-Rex in the city ending. Watching it nowadays, is the worst? No. But it felt there's a lot of stuff lacking in that film. The third film, Jurassic Park 3, I thought was a tightly paced, pretty damn decent flick. Yes, the stupid dream scene with the raptor talking could have been cut out. Should have been cut out. But it was great to see Sam Neill back as the lead. I thought it had some really good practical effects. And it had a tight, lean pace that made it for, at the very least, a pretty decent adventure flick. Didn't overstay its welcome. So then years go by, you had Jurassic World. Jurassic World, I thought, was completely overrated trash. I hated that movie. That and Star Wars The Force Awakens started this trend of making these sequels that were sequels, but they were reboots where they copy a lot of elements from the previous film or the first film. So it's a requel, how the hell you want to call it. Because in that film, it's okay, we have a park, to be fair. But then you even have scenes where two kids are trapped in the vehicle and the dinosaur crashes through and they're trying to battle it just like the kids in the first Jurassic Park. On other scenes that were just very similar to it. Or you had scenes that were just insanely goofy, but I just didn't find fun. They were goofy, but for me not in the fun way. Like the invisible dinosaur. I'm like, we got invisible. That's what I find it funny. There's some dumb stuff in this. Don't get me wrong. There is some dumb stuff in this movie. But people complain about that. But they love Jurassic World. I'm like, Jurassic World had an invisible dinosaur. I know they try to explain it because of other animals and the mix of the DNA and cloaking, iguana. Like I know they try to explain it, but it's still about an invisible dinosaur. That for this to use its invisibility at the end when it needs it, because you would think it's fighting like all these other dinosaurs, you think maybe you should turn invisible now? Guess he forgot. Whoops. And I didn't care about those kids, and I didn't even care about Bryce Dallas Howard's character. And the film after this, Dominion, I thought was a piece of trash too. I thought that was terrible. I thought it was big old monster dino turd. Dino dud, I think is what I called it in the review. Because you bring back Sam Neill, you bring back Jeff Goldblum, you bring back Laura Dern. You have those characters, then you have the characters from the Jurassic World films to deal with, and then, okay, we have the way this film ends. Now we have a whole country full of dinosaurs, but let's not really push into that. Let's make it a big section about bugs and locusts and bugs and bugs. Because yeah, now that we have this notion of dinosaurs across the countryside, we're not going to center on that. We're going to center on a bunch of bugs. And Dotson, who gives a crap about that character, and that's a whole other thing. I yelled about that film already. That's a piece of trash too. This film, I don't mind. This is the only Jurassic World film I don't mind. I could watch. I could be entertained. Yes, there's some dumb stuff in this. But I thought the director at least knew, for the most part, to have a pretty good pace to it. Like the first 50 minutes, hour, it goes by very brisk. Yes, the third act is goofy, but it's my kind of goofy because it reminds me of those like B movies I would see in the '90s, of like a monster in one location and stalking people left and right. And I thought this one seemed to use a bit. There's CG, of course, but it does use some practical moments when it matters. That was nice to see. Chris Pratt, I thought, felt more comfortable here than he did in Jurassic World. And the thing with Dominion is because now we're adding so many characters, now there's all split up. It's hard to focus on all of them because now we gotta jump to this one, then we gotta jump to this, then we gotta jump to this, and so this one, it felt a bit more focused because of that. I thought I had some decent set pieces. The beginning, where these people are trying to get some DNA, but you have the submersible, but then that big water creature from the previous film, it shows up, and I thought I liked the shot where it's the submersible is here, and then from the darkness you see the dinosaur right behind it opening its mouth. Cuts away, but we could see what happens. I also did like the bit, which I did laugh, where the T-Rex is trying to get the guy who's on the ladder with the helicopter. He thinks he's safe, but then the creature chomps his ass. And there were moments that I thought were pretty that were prominent in this franchise, which I'll get to in a few minutes. But I said I appreciate the pacing of the film, where the setup is there's this volcanic eruption going to happen on the island. This rich guy who was the former partner of Hammond, of course you know he's a bad guy. It actually would have been a nice surprise if he wasn't a bad guy, but they're always bad guys. I mean, what, the guy that wanted stuff in the Lost World, Jurassic Park 2, and like they're always bad guys. Like you always know they're bad guys. So it would have been a nice change of pace if they twisted that. He actually meant it, but that's just me. I mean, if there's a weak part of the movie, it's definitely the script at points. I'll get to the dumb stuff. But he gets in contact with Bryce Dallas Howard, who seems much more palatable here. I could not stand her in the previous film. Here, she just seemed a bit more comfortable, a bit more likable, a bit more easier to root for. She wasn't as annoying, she wasn't as irritating to me as she was in the previous film. But it's like, hey, there's island, volcanic eruption, let's relocate the dinosaurs. I definitely want this raptor. You know someone that could help. It's the last raptor, Blue, from the previous film. So she gets Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt is unsure about it, but ultimately joins. You also have Justice Smith, the IT tech, which his shrilling got old quick. I don't think you needed him in the movie. But yeah, or at least if he's in it, have him shrill and shriek and scream a bit less. They get to the island, they meet Ted Levine, which on one end, it's great to see Ted Levine. On the other end, you know he's going to be a bad guy, just like you knew Vezza D'Onofrio was going to be a bad guy. And it's kind of a copy of the Vezza D'Onofrio bit in the previous film, so like I said, I'm not going to kiss this movie's ass in every aspect. But it does have a lot of good moments for me personally. Chris Pratt, like I said, he felt more comfortable here. I do like the line he says to her where, if I don't come back, remember, you're the one that made me come. And she's like, what? Hey, oh, don't worry, I'll be back. It'll be okay. I thought that was a pretty funny line reading. The whole bit with the island where he's got to go capture Blue, and then he gets tranquilized, and then He's trying to get out of it, and the lava's coming towards him. Granted, if lava's that close, I know it's not touching you, but would it still burn the hell out of you and other stuff? Granted, I've never been that close to lava, but I would think you'd be like, die of heat stroke or something. I don't know. I mean, you would think because that's why they wear those suits. Right, not just for protection, but, because of the tremendous heat, but... I guess I can't really I can't really argue that. But I don't know, it's just... Maybe because just something about it had a sense of fun that I thought was lacking in the previous film. I definitely thought it was lacking in the film afterward. Just the running through the jungle, and the girl and the Justice Smith, they're trapped, and Chris Pratt's got to jump into the water and save them, and felt like in some type of just adventure spectacle that you would see, and dinosaurs are running around, and volcanic explosions everywhere, and the underwater rescue, and would I get in the truck? Would I make it to the boat? They do this jump, which I know people say, oh, that's unrealistic. You think that's the most unrealistic part of Jurassic Park? Of all the movies? Really? It was like this big of a jump. Have you seen the film Speed? Remember that jump? If you're complaining about that jump, man, I hate for you to see Speed from the 90s, which to me is a classic. It's one of my favorite 90s action films. But we all know that jump is BS. But you think this jump is such an atrocity. I'm like, I had no issues with that jump. If I could buy the jump in Speed, which I don't, is ridiculous, but I could go with a jump that big from the truck to the vehicle to the thing. I like the bit where they have to get the blood for the T-Rex, because I like the use of the practical effects. Just the crazy situation of you gotta be around this sleeping T-Rex and that goes off kilter, you gotta get out of there. I thought that was a nice setup. Something I had not seen in the Jurassic Park films before that. I thought Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, because they had done a film before, they felt more comfortable with each other, talking with each other. So I thought they had a bit more better chemistry. When I said like scenes that stuck with me, when they look back on the island and everything's going on fire and you see all the smoke and you see the brontosaurus, the silhouette, and it's dying and it's crying out in pain. That might be the saddest moment in this whole franchise. Like, sincerely, like that moment with the way they made it look, and it's like just the kind dinosaur that just wants some leaves. That Sam Neill and the girl then were petting in the first Jurassic Park. We saw it earlier in this film, just wanting a leaf from a tree. Can't get the hell out of Dodge, it's too big, and you see its silhouette and smoke, and it dies, and it's sad and depressing. I felt bad. Trust me, Jurassic World, all I felt was anger and boredom. Same with Dominion, anger and boredom. So the fact this gave me another different, genuine emotion already has a few steps up from the other Jurassic World films. I would still say I like Jurassic Park. I'd probably say I like Jurassic Park 3 more. So it'd be 1, 3, then this one. But I did like, again, the scenes like that I thought was memorable. And yet, then they go to the estate, and it's pretty much 2 movies. It's the island bit, and then the estate bit. I know a lot of people feel it should have just stuck with the island bit. But the estate bit, I didn't mind, because at least it made it seem a bit... Well, I guess I wouldn't say different, because it'd be similar to the raptors attacking our characters in the first Jurassic Park. When they're inside, they're opening doors, things of that nature. And yes, talking about the script. These people weaponizing dinosaurs is a stupid idea. I know it's a stupid, dumb fuck idea. Well, you don't, is it going to be like dino saucers or what was that? Dino riders? Is that what we're going to do? I feel like Peter Well and Leviathan, where it's like, well, we're going to have soldiers with wings on them and fly around. There'll be a bunch of bird people. Like, are we just going to have dinosaurs and like put missiles on them and shoot at tanks? Laser beams on their head, you know? Laser beam here and there and there, you know? Are going to have raptors with guns, sharp sticks, T-Rex with like a laser eye? The plasma cannon. Like, what, we're going to drop a bunch of dinosaurs on a compound and just get them. You know what also works? A bomb. If you don't take all the effort to put a bunch of raptors in a compound, you also just get a bomb. There you go. So yeah, it made zero sense to weaponize dinosaurs. Granted, there's a ton of either Roger Corman produced or other films that have the same type of thing, and you're thinking, well, what the hell? Why would you weaponize this? Why would you weaponize that? There's never a good reason to weaponize something of that nature. It's never a good reason to weaponize an animal. But there's so many films I've seen back in the day that need to weaponize it. I mean, what is the true benefit of this? Well, they use this. They try to have like pull stuff out of their ass. Well, it happened this one point in history. I'm like, yeah, they probably didn't have a. These people have money, and also, we don't have. They probably didn't have the technology we have today, even in 2018, and they didn't have the money that they're spending on this, millions and 20 million, 30 million, 40 million dollars. I'm like, you did a nuclear bomb, probably for that much. Sally probably could. So weaponizing dinosaurs, I know that's pretty stupid. And then also, like, okay, there's this little girl who is the granddaughter of James Cromwell, who is kind of funding all this, but he doesn't know the details of what's going on. He's been screwed over by the other ass who sent Bryce Dallas Howard and them on the mission. Because really what that guy wants is to get all the animals and get their DNA and then sell it on the black market. And so forth. Oh, the girl. I lost my train of thought. You find out that the girl is a clone. And let me ask you a question. This is why, I do like the film. I think it's entertaining enough. I like most of the cast. I like the B movie aspect of the third act where it's this creature. I like the look of the Indoraptor. I think it looks cool. I like the big long claws. And there's scenes in it that again reminds me of a B movie I would see back in the day where it was like coming in and clawing at the bed and if you could clone humans, don't you think that would make you more money than cloning dinosaurs? I mean, think of it. Okay, you clone dinosaurs, but you clone a human. Would you not think that would make you a lot more money? Why are you putting all your eggs in the dinosaur basket? You could clone humans. Find out about that. Find out info about that. I think people will want that. I could clone a human army. I could clone. I mean, I hate to say it, as vulgar as it is, the sex trafficking market. Now, granted, at Jurassic Park, but we should not go in that direction, to be fair. But that's what would happen. That if you could clone humans, Sally, that market would be prominent because a lot of women, and even kids, Sally would... You know that would happen, Sally, with that technology. Granted, no address part, but we should not go in that direction. But, okay, obviously you're not going to put that to the plot. But just the idea of cloning humans would be a hell of a lot more moneymaker than dinosaurs. It really would. But then it's like, yeah, you could clone humans. Forget about that shit. Weaponize the dinosaurs. Put some guns on them or whatever. It does make you laugh. But like I said, I guess because it didn't annoy me by being a complete, utter copy or seeming like a copy of Jurassic Park like Jurassic World was. It moved at a fast enough pace that I was at least somewhat entertained by some of the spectacle. Like I said, Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard felt more comfortable in this film. It didn't try to garner all the nostalgia. I mean, Jeff Goldblum's in it for a little bit, but here's Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and they're checking the bugs. That's all you can do with those characters is checking the damn bugs. And I was talking about like, the third act. I did like how Ted Levine's character, spoiler, how he gets killed. That he trains the Indoraptor, and then you see his eyes open, and then you see his smirk, like, and then bites Ted Levine's arm off, which I thought was pretty damn violent. Now, granted, I mean, Jurassic Park, you had Sam Jackson's arm left for Laura Dern, and the lawyer eaten and stuff, so that's not unusual, but just felt like it's been I just Jurassic World, you had that one woman that just got killed, like, it seems like 8 times, like, got picked up here and put over there, so. But just that up close and personal with that, I thought was pretty surprisingly violent. And then you see that he eats the damn arm. And that's what I mean by, like, the B movie, like, I like that aspect. The good raptor Blue escapes from his cage, fights some of the bad guys, and then jumps out of a exploding window as if he's Jean-Claude Van Damme in Hard Target. Just a rupture to tank, it runs, it jumps out of a window. All I needed was slow motion, it'd be like a John Woo thing. Which part of me was like, just go more ballistic, bad shit like that. Made like the Jurassic Park video game. Remember when you're the raptor and you go around killing all the people when you're the raptor? Just go full tilt booty with that. Let's follow the raptor. Let's have a point of view of the raptor just going and clawing and eating everybody, jumping through more windows, like again, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Hard Target. And it's trying at least to be a bit suspenseful. Granted, not as well as the first Jurassic Park, but when our characters are being stalked by the Indoraptor. Like I said, I like the look of the Indoraptor. I like the design of it. The little girl runs away. I don't know why she felt it was smart to hide in a bed. I know people go, well, she's a little girl. And, you know, little girls... I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, she seemed a bit smarter than that, but for some reason her idea is to hide in a bed. I'm like, you dumb fuck. I think also one thing I liked was that it really was our characters defeating the monster. What I mean by that is you look at like Jurassic Park. You know, it's them escaping and the T-Rex helps them, they get out of there. Jurassic Park 2. It's the T-Rex, they outrun it, they bring it to this situation, they bring it to this area, but it's not really them shooting, killing, defeating. It's, we gotta get them this, we have the baby, we gotta get them the hell out of here. So just lead them away. Jurassic Part 3, it's a little bit of that with Sam Neill. It's shooting the flare, but it's more like steering it off. Jurassic World is about the dinosaurs killing the major asshole dinosaur. Here, though, it's Chris Pratt shooting at it. Chris and the girl getting on outside on top of this rickety glass area. At the combined effort of Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard and Blue, all three of them attacking, maneuvering, and killing this thing. In a very epic fashion, where Blue attacks it, and in slow-mo they both fall until it lands on the creature, and the creature gets impaled, which I thought was a cool, memorable death for the monster, which is rare for, which you don't see a whole lot in Jurassic Park. Like I said, the monster didn't really, at least in that way, in that fashion, with the help of the humans. So I just felt like the humans had a bit more to do, had a bit more to accomplish. I don't know how to word it. I'm not wording it the best way, but just something about that felt more satisfying. I thought that was like a cool action moment. Blue grabbing the thing, and they both fall in slow-mo, circular, until it gets on top and impales the damn thing. I'm like, yeah! That was cool to see. That's what I mean, like, moments like that, scattered throughout the film, made it entertaining enough, especially as a guy that did not like the previous one, so I had little to no expectations with this. Granted, that's almost ruined by the girl being the dumbest person in the world, because the dinosaurs, they're trapped. There's this thing that's going to kill them. Bryce Dallas Howard's ready to let them out, but then realizes it's going to screw up our way of life. It's going to put a lot of people in danger. It's going to screw up everything in terms of how it all works, the ecological disaster it would be. But because the girl knew she was a clone, she hits the button. They're alive, like me. Not for long. You know, that would be like, not for long, bitch. You dumb bitch. That would have been hilarious if someone said, you dumb bitch, what'd you do? You let them out, you dumbass. It was very dumb. I get what they were trying to do, but at the same time, because for the most part, they show dinosaurs that are more the vegan, the herbivores, the triceratops, the bony one that we actually see earlier that helped Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard get them out of their cell with the bony plate on its head. You mostly see the vegans. But at the same time, you have Blue, Raptor. He's don't want meat. You have T-Rex. And I'm sure some other carnivores as well. And you even see at the end where, right, you have the water, I forget the name of that gigantic water creature. But that wasn't their fault. That was at the very beginning of the movie where it was let out. So the girl had nothing to do with that. But like Blue is like in front of a town. I'm like, oh man, that town is screwed. The T-Rex is roaring at a lion, which I like that moment. That's kind of cool. The teen of the jungle, the lion roaring at another teen T-Rex. What's funny is as soon as the dinosaurs are let out, 3 people died. Granted, they're 3 bad guys, but the pterodactyls and other ones they killed 3 guys already. If they already killed 3 guys, we just don't care because they're bad guys. But they still killed 3 guys in a matter of a minute. So they've been let out. They killed 3 people in a matter of a minute. How many more people are going to get killed? How many more people are going to get screwed over. Granted, I mean, you have military, you have helicopters, choppers. You did one helicopter with a bunch of missiles, I think they could take out the T-Rex pretty easily. Some of these dinosaurs are more herbivores. I mean, with some elephant guns, if you had to, you could probably take them out. Pterodactyls would be more the pain in the ass. But I would think that it's not like there were a million of them. I mean, there was a good chunk, but there probably wasn't even 100 of them. I don't think. Let's say there was. Okay, there's 100 dinosaurs. Chunk of them are herbivores. Would it be as dire as they're making out to be? Other than the T-Rex, which showed like there was one T-Rex. The water creature's really your deal. That'd probably be the toughest one, the pterodactyls. But like they try to work it that way, so we're not as angry at the little kid. But at the same time, a lot of people are like, what the fuck did this girl do? But all this stuff I'm thinking about, it doesn't matter because they did the Minion and they barely touched on it. Other than rustling some dinosaurs at one point like cowboys. And then they kind of dropped that stuff. And whatever potential they had for that ending is screwed over Dominion. Flatter than a pancake. So, take that for you will. It is a flawed film. With a very flawed script. The little girl, I did not mind her acting. Not sure if I really cared about her character because she's more of a plot point than a character. She's a clone. She did the deed at the end because she's a clone. Yeah, I don't mind her acting, but it's just, again, did this franchise need human clones? No. I did like the fast pace. I did not think it was that boring. Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, I thought, like I said, were more likable to me here than they were in the previous film. I did like the Indoraptor design. I did like some of the B-movie fun in the third act when it's killing people one by one and stalking people in this enclosed setting. Which, again, it's nothing new. You had the raptors in the first Jurassic Park, but I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. Reminds me of the monster movies I grew up with. Right, I think those are better, but, you know, The Relic, Deep Rising, I put those above this, don't get me wrong, but I can be a sucker for that kind of stuff. I do like the use of practical effects. It felt like there was more practical used here compared to the previous one, or even the next one. I think there's some decent looking shots, like the Brontosaurus death on the island. There's enough merit I found in here that I was entertained. I mean, is it dumb? Yes, but Jurassic World was pretty damn dumb as well. And I thought a lot more boring. And more annoying kids. Dominion I thought was pretty boring. And that felt longer. Might not have been long, but it felt longer. And you really wasted Sam Neill, Laura Dern, you wasted all these characters. Having a thumb up their ass, looking at bugs, CG bugs. I keep harping on it because that's the best you got for those characters to do? Really? I mean, really, you could argue you did not need any Jurassic World films. But they made a lot of money. But of the three, this is one I could watch. And not get that mad about. So, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.